Okay, so can you tell us more? I'm assuming post-traumatic growth is different than post-traumatic stress.
When we think about trauma, of course, something is going to be stressful and traumatic, and we will have this post traumatic or post stress response, that PTS piece, right? That doesn't mean we'll develop post traumatic stress disorder,
Mhm.
right? So we could have nightmares, we could have symptoms, we could think about it for a couple of weeks, and usually after a couple of weeks, the symptoms start to go away. And it's something that's traumatic, but it's not this lingering symptomatic, mental health condition.
That makes a lot of sense. And then developing the resilience, the post-traumatic growth out of that, do you have any recommendations for people who are feeling that stress? I know personally, I've been feeling the stress for about 15 months now.
Yeah, there's some really great things that people can do. And so the idea of post-traumatic growth is, so what does that mean for me, right? How does that affect me personally? And what do I do? What do I want to do? And how do I move forward? So this idea of, and so what? So how do we become resilient becomes really important to me, regardless of who we're working with, whether I'm working with military or I'm working with CEOs, right? This idea of, okay, how do I hold my trauma so it helps me grow and move forward and not hold me back? And so for me, I like to start people with this idea of mindfulness and working with doing some deep breathing. I know it sounds super trite, right? It's not so much sitting in the lotus position and saying, okay, now I just want you to breathe. I mean, it has more to do with learning how to calm our nervous system down. And so we get out of our head and we balance, being so far in our head and stressed out and worried that we stop breathing. And so when you catch yourself, you're probably seized up and you're holding your breath and your shoulders are in your ears, right? And so being able for people to learn how to titrate, getting out of their head into their body. Some people are way in their body and they feel like I'm frozen and I can't think clearly,
Mhm.
right? And so then using some skills to do things that are more intellectually based or cognitive based. And so that can be a very linear model. So what is the problem? Right. And I say brainstorm, write it all out, write it down. Your potential list of solutions can be from something that makes perfect sense to something that's absolutely ridiculous. And it doesn't matter how many things you write down, right? What are all of the possible potential solutions? And then pick one and move with that. Worst case is it doesn't work, right?
Right.
It helps you get unstuck though.
Mhm.
And so that's the growth piece is, okay, I know from my traumatic experience how I'm going to respond to things. So if I want to do it differently, then how do I approach it differently? Maybe picking a different solution might work. Worst case is it doesn't work and I'm back to where I started anyway.
Right. That's really good advice.